and today I will be reading from The Mezzanine by Nicholson Baker, a footnote for those having trouble sleeping at the moment. Although earplugs are essential for getting to sleep, they are useless later on when you are awakened with night anxieties and your brain is steeping in a bad fluorescent juice. I slept beautifully through college, but the new job brought regular insomnia and with it a long period of trial and error until I hit on the images that most consistently lured me back to sleep. I began with Monday night at the movies title sequences, a noun like memorandum or calamari, in huge three-dimensional curving letters outlined with chrome edgework of lines and blinking stars rotating on two axes. I meant myself to be asleep by the time I passed through the expanding O or the dormer window of the A. This didn't work for long. In the belief that images with more substance to them and less abstract pattern would encourage the dreaming state, I pictured myself driving in a low, fast car, taking off from an aircraft carrier in a low, fast plane, or twisting water from a towel in a flooded basement. The plane worked best, but it didn't work well. And then, surprised that I'd taken so long to think of it, I remembered the convention of counting sheep. In Disney cartoons, a little scene of sheep springing lightly over a stile or a picket fence appears in a thought cloud above the man in the bed, while on the soundtrack, violins accompany a soft voice out of 78 records saying 1, 2, 3, 4. I thought of story conferences in Disney studios back in the golden days of cartoons. The look of benign concentration on the crouching animator's face as he carefully coloured in the outline of a suspended, stylised sheep one frame further along its arc. Warm light from his clamp-on drafting table lamp shining over the pushpins and masking tape and the special acetate pencil in his hand. I was soon successfully asleep. But though this Disney version achieved its purpose, it felt unsatisfactory. I was imagining sheep, true, but the convention which I wanted to uphold called for counting sheep. Yet I didn't feel that there was any point to counting what was obviously the same set of animated frames recycled over and over. I needed to pierce through the cartoon and create a procession of truly differentiable sheep for myself. So I homed in on each one for its approach to the hurdle and looked for individuating features, some thistle prominently caught, or a bit of dried mud on a shank. Sometimes I strapped a number on the next one to jump and gave him a Kentucky Derby name: Brunch Commander, Nosferatu, I before E, Wee Willie Winky. And I made him take the jump very slowly, so that I could study every phase of it, the crumbs of airborne dirt floating slowly towards the lens, the soft-lipped grimace, the ripple moving through the wool on landing. If I wasn't off by then, I backed up and reconstructed the sheep's entire day, for I found that it was the approach to the jump rather than the jump itself that was sleep-inducing. Some sheep had probably reported for work around noon, several towns over, tousled and fractious. Around 2 in the office, in the afternoon, while at my office, expecting a rough night, I had, I imagined, placed a call to one of the shepherd dispatchers. Could she send out some random number of sheep not larger than 30 to arrive outside my apartment by 3:30 AM for counting? The practised crook of the sheep dispatcher travels over her herd, pointing, you. She repeats my address again and again to her nodding subjects. And my personal flock departs 15 minutes later with a voucher to be signed on arrival. All that afternoon, they cross village greens, wade brooks, and trot along the median valleys of highways. While I am eating dinner with Elle, They are still miles away, but by bedtime, 11:30 p.m, I can spot them with my binoculars coming over a rise, tiny bobbing shapes next to a foreshortened red roof inn sign, still in the next county. And at 3:30 a.m, when I need them badly, they bustle up, exhilarated from their journey. I put aside the unwritten thank you letter I have been writhing over, log the sheep in and pay them off, and the first few begin lofting themselves over the planks and milk crates I have assembled out front, their small pink tongues visible with the effort, the whites of their sheep eyes showing. 1, 2, 3, and then I have become a very successful director of fabric softener commercials. The agency needs lush shots of jumping sheep. Their fleece has to read as golden in the failing sunlight, and the greens of the countryside have to be inconceivably full-throated. I shampoo each sheep myself. I comfort the weepers. I read to the assembled flock from Cardinal Newman's idea of a university to heighten their sense of purpose and grace. And I demonstrate to them how I need them to send their plump torsos airborne, hike up their rear legs for an added boost, throw their heads back for the drama, and always, always lead in their landing with the left forehoof. I give them their cue through a rolled up script. Okay, number 4. Lighter footfalls now, thrust up, and the rear legs. More teeth, show strain, now some nostril, and over. Lately, I have found that the last thing in my mind before resumed unconsciousness is often the dwindling sight of one lone sheep who, having cleared my hurdle and been checked off, full of relief and the glow of accomplishment, is hurrying over farther hills to his next assignment, which is to leap an herbal border in slow motion for Elle, awake with worries of her own beside.